Welcome to the Dental Breakdown Show. This show is where we break down issues in the dental marketplace. My name is Christian White, CEO of White & Associates Practice Consulting, Better Business, Better Dentistry. But, most dentists, they're coming out of school or dental school and they've got $400,000 in loans. And, that's a huge deal for them to be saddled with that much debt when you come out of school. Now, you were talking about how you can use a short-term or long-term disability policy, which may come in and help out with that piece. So why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Christian. So when someone comes, so in this world, no one can argue me that someone's going to pass, right? We will pass away at some point, hopefully when we're 85 and 90, right?
Yes.
But when you walk into a room, 1 out of every 3 people in that room, on average, will become disabled during their working time, their working life. Meaning when you're disabled, you're not working. You're laying at home, you're miserable. Most, like over 80% of disability claims are illness. Vast majority of the people we talk about always think the other person's get disabled. And it's a person in a wheelchair, which yes, a person in a wheelchair is obviously disabled, but they don't realize they wake up one morning not feeling good. And they now have cancer, a rare blood disease, some illness that prevents them from working from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, 8 hours a day to 6 hours a day. There's a gentleman in northern Minnesota that had a heart attack, a very successful lawyer. He wouldn't know that he had a heart surgery stent in, but he doesn't work Fridays anymore. And he takes an hour nap Monday through Thursday in his office. He can't, it's just too much stress with the heart attack he had. Disability, he's getting $15,000 a month on his disability claim. Now your disability benefits based on your income. And so he'll get that tax-free up until age 65. And so he now can decide who he wants to take on as a client, who he wants to work with. And where we can come in and provide value is we can look at a group disability plan, a short-term disability and a long-term disability plan. Short-term, where if you're injured outside of work, you can go on the plan day one. You just have to go to a doctor and the doctor says, yep, you're disabled. And then that will pay out for 13 weeks. We can then push out an illness 8 days, 14 days to 2 weeks. So someone that has the snuffles doesn't come in on Monday and try to make a claim. Just kind of pushes out, if you're really sick, going to be out for more than 2 weeks, then let's make a claim. And this benefit goes to your checking account every month. And depending on how we set it up through the company, it could be taxable, it could be non-taxable. It all depends on how we set it up to the employee. When you are disabled, your expenses actually go up. They don't go down. And that's a huge misconception. I had a client of mine tell me that he was going to cancel his Netflix to save some money. And I'm like, but you're laying at home, you don't feel good, you're disabled, and you can't go anywhere to get movies, and I don't know how many movie places really exist today, and so you're going to cancel your Netflix to save $15 a month. But you're right, I'm not going to cancel it. And so the benefit to a group disability plan is that we can run it through the company. Once we get to a certain number of people, we can offer literally either a couple of questions or no questions, medical questions. And so if you have employees that have diabetes, or cancer in the past or current have cancer, as long as these are some chronic conditions, kidney issues, that would either deny them on the individual market or rate them to the point where it is so ungodly and unaffordable for you to get the insurance, we can get a potential better rate through the group insurance because we're spreading the risk out amongst the 10 plus employees in the company. And so when you look at some of your key employees, especially yourself as a dentist, getting some sort of protection to protect yourself, and most of the time, no medical questions, add so much value. Probably the biggest question I get is, what happens if I never use my disability?
Right, exactly.
Well, think about it this way. All insurance is a promise to pay.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying a premium every month to that insurance company. You name the insurance company, And their promise to you is, as long as you do XYZ issues, you talk to a doctor, you didn't commit a felony to get hurt, etc., you're following the contract, we'll pay. We'll pay. And so if you take out the disability insurance and you never use it, at 65 years old, typically goes to 60, 65, give or take 60, or 65 to 67, then you're very lucky and fortunate. And it was the best, worst premium you ever used. If you look at all insurance, Christian, the best insurance to have is the insurance you never used. You didn't get sick. You didn't die. Your house didn't burn down. You were very fortunate. And so your biggest risk in this, one of those biggest risks is protecting your income, right? If you have $400,000 of debt from schooling, how are you going to, your number one most value asset is yourself, your ability
Correct.
to earn an income.
Yes.
And unfortunately, in this country, you can't do anything without an income, right? And so we protect our homes, we protect our cars, we get health insurance, but why don't we protect your number one asset outside of your time? Your time, I would argue, is your number one asset, is protect your ability to earn an income. And then there's ways, as a dentist, there's ways where we can put different benefits on your disability benefits that allows you to still collect disability benefits, but then go teach dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
Become a professor and make good income, and you can still be on your benefits. Without going into too much detail, if you're interested, give me a call about that. But we could set people up, talk to them about this risk that they have, how to pay their student loans back, how to pay their mortgage if they go down for the count. And then also too, we can also offer what's called business overhead insurance, where you're the dentist, you go down for the count, people are coming in there to see you, right? Well, 60% of businesses fail because they don't have a continuation plan when the owner either passes or becomes disabled. So we can actually put a plan in place that gives the business money, cash, when you're sitting in the hospital. One major objection I get from business owners is, well, I'll still get paid from my company if I go down for the count.
Yes.
Right. Can your company afford to do that? Because if you're the specialist, you're the dentist, and you're the one looking in someone's mouth and determining whether I need a cavity filled or take out my wisdom teeth or put a crown on, a hygienist, as far as I understand, can't make those recommendations, right? So you're going to have to find someone that you can pay a good income to make those recommendations to keep your business open. And if you're a dentist that's been around for 15, 20 years, you spent your entire life building this business. I have a gentleman, a friend of mine, passed away of cancer. He did very well, 7-figure income, and he had 2 group disability benefits and he had 2 individual benefits. He made north of $4 million a year.
Oof.
He did very well. He explained to me that if it wasn't for his group disability benefits and if it wasn't for his personal disability policies he took out, he could have, even though he was the face of this business, his clients knew him. And when he was sitting in the hospital, he said he almost died about 4 or 5 times in the hospital he had cancer, became septic, the whole 9 yards. He said it wasn't for the disability benefits. He made a ton of money. He said my business would have been gone because it gave me the money for me to pay my bills while I was sitting at home and in the hospital. And it gave me money to pay, to get a partner in there now to run the business for him. He said there was times where he was dying in the hospital. He couldn't run the business. He literally could not run the business. And if it wasn't for his disability insurance and some savings he had, he said his business that did over $4 million a year in business would have been gone. 30 years working, gone, he said.
Wow, that's a sobering fact.
Well, and I'm
Wow.
not trying to sell on fear. I'm not trying to scare
No, I
people,
know
but
that.
as a business owner, you have to think about these things.
But you have to think about that.
Yeah, that, oh, my business will still pay me. Well, my question for you is that your lead person, John, Jane Doe, that steps up to replace you, that is now taking on their responsibilities and your responsibilities as owner. What's stopping them from putting up a shingle across the street after 6, 7, 8 months of working like a dog, taking on doing their responsibilities and your responsibilities, and you're not paying them anymore because you can't afford to pay them anymore because you're still drawing a paycheck. Why don't you take that risk off and put it on the insurance company where you can get paid either a portion of your salary or potentially all your salary, depending on what plan you take out, pay back your student loans, pay your mortgage, and then have a business to come back to when you're healthy.
Wow. That's that's really good. That's great information. That's something for a lot of the dentists need to think about, and a lot of business owners need to think about that, because I know a lot of people don't have that uh, disability policy. It's pretty important. It's probably one of the most important pieces of insurance that you can buy. I'm sure you'll probably or invest in. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that.
Well, my dad, last story, and he told me when he first got into the military, first day of basic training, the sergeant lines him up in the cafeteria or the ballroom, wherever he said he was at the gym at the base. And the sergeant's yelling at him, like, I want everyone to look to your right. He goes, we're going to go to war someday, boys. Some of you will die. He goes, look to your right. That person is the one that's going to die. And my dad said, he goes, I looked at that guy and I said, that sucks for him. And then all of a sudden, something caught my eye and I looked to the left. The guy to my left was looking at me. Right. And he said,
right.
it was very sober. The thought of that what the sergeant was trying to tell him, that some of you, we don't know who. And my point to this story is that just like my dad looking at the guy to the right and said, oh, that sucks for him, he's going to die in war. That's how I think most people view disability. I'm not the one that's going to get hurt. I'm not the one that's going to get sick. It's the guy to the right of me who's going to get sick. But they forget that there's a guy to the left of them looking at them. And so just food for thought to think about it. It's the worst premium you'll ever pay if you take out disability. If you never use it, you were very lucky and fortunate.
Well said and well put. Greg, thank you for being on the show today. This was a great discussion. I really appreciate it. I think all our listeners are going to get a lot out of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it.
Greg, if our listeners want to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, they can always call our office at 651-371-6512, or they can look us up on the web at www.npfbenefits.com, and benefits is plural.
Thank you for listening today. I'm Christian White, the CEO of White & Associates Practice Consulting, Better Business, Better Dentistry. If you would like more information on today's topic, you can contact us at whitedentalconsulting.com/breakdown. Keep those teeth white and see you next time on the Dental Breakdown Show.